Kin gathered close at the hearth where the embers whisper warnings to the wind. Hear me now. What becomes of the household that flings wide its heavy oaken door to every wanderer from distant rivers, while its own strong arms grow slack and its young feet forget the furrow?
The fire crackles low already, and the shadows lengthen. But whose hand will tend it when the proven kin stand idle?
In the dim glow of that hearth, the mother of the lodge turned her eyes from the circle of her own blood, 2 daughters weaving empty baskets, a son lounging like a stone by the warm stones, his tools gathering dust in the corner, and called in a traveler from storm-swept lands beyond the ridge. "Share our roof," she said, her voice bright as new thatch, "for the council of elders bids us shelter those who knock." The stranger entered, her bundle light, her gaze sharp on the laden shelves.
The son watched from his shadowed nook, his fingers tracing idle patterns in the ash.
But who would sharpen the blades for tomorrow's harvest?
The question hung like smoke, unanswered as the first night deepened.
By dawn's pale light at the riverbank, where willows dipped their branches to drink, the traveler fetched water not for the household pots alone, but to fill her own hidden gourds.
The daughters nodded, praising her swift step, while the son trailed behind, his net unused, watching fish slip away untaken. "Why labor when hands from afar pour the stream?" one sister murmured.
Yet the river ran shallower that morn, its gifts divided.
The mother smiled from the workshop door, her spindle still.
But what of the nets left to tangle in the reeds, and the youth, whose skill withered like unplucked reeds?
Days turned to the turning of seasons, and from the pastures where sheep once grazed thick as kin at feast, the traveller's brother appeared broad-shouldered kin from the same far valley, with companions whose shadows stretched long over the grass.
They lounged by the boundary stones, their fires fed from the household's woodpile, their bellies filled from the storehouse grain. "Lend us the whetstone," the brother called, and the mother handed her own, her hands trembling faint.
The son stood at the fence, his shepherd's crook, leaning forgotten, feeling small as a lamb among wolves' kin. The flock scattered wider, unguarded.
Trust, once woven tight as wool, began to fray, but whose voice would call the sheep home when night winds howled?
Weeks swelled into moons, and in the fields where corn should rise green as hope, the strangers' hands turned not to the plough, but claimed the ripest ears for their own circles.
The household's tools, sickle, hoe, seed basket, lay idle under rain's relentless patter, rust blooming like unspoken doubt.
The daughters whispered of the wanderer's vigour, their own looms silent, baskets barren of new weave.
The son dreamed of mending fences, yet rose late, his strength sapped like dew from untended soil.
Elders from neighbouring hearths gathered at the crossroads, murmuring, "Your land yields less, your fires burn strangers' wood, will reciprocity hold when kin go empty?" The question echoed unanswered, as weeds choked the rose.
Seasons cycled to years, and at the burial grounds where ancestors slept under cairns of riverstone, the household circle thinned.
No young voices laughed in the workshop, no infants gripped the elder's staff for first steps.
The strangers multiplied. The brother brought mates, their young scampering over pastures once held firm by blood-tried hands.
Storehouses echoed hollow, labour chains broken. Who taught the plough's song when youth idled?
The mother, once generous, sat silent by a cold grate, her kin scattered like leaves in autumn gale.
The son, unmanned by his own stillness, watched boundaries blur, paths overgrown.
Skill faded from fingers, trust crumbled like dry clay. And the land?
It drank the sweat of newcomers, forgetting the feet that first broke soil.
Kin at the hearth, heed the elders' unyielding gaze across these gathered flames. If doors stay flung to endless wanderers while proven blood idles, tools rust and cradles empty, the household fractures like frost-split stone.
Elders' wisdom echoes unheard in empty halls. Children's hunger cries to untended fields. Kinship unravels Reciprocity dies in the dust.
Land slips from slack hands to those who claim without yielding. Lineages fade like smoke on the wind, and the fire goes cold forever.
Guard the circle, tend the proven, or watch your blood's flame gutter out, for the ancestors demand no less than continuity, carved deep in soil and stone.
If the forebear's speech kindled ember in your chest, carry that warmth from the hearth into the wider circle. Speak the lesson aloud by the boundary stones. Pass the flame from hand to hand along the old paths. Bring your watch to gatherings where elders stand. And let your rope bind the scattered work, so the child who comes after may learn the tools and the turning of seasons. Each voice that walks those stones and tends the ember feeds the fire of understanding that threads kin to kin. And by standing with this labor, you keep the fire alive for those who follow.